Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Yeah. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Clickbaity, thirst trap. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Clickbaity, thirst trap. Trap squad, trap squad.
Thirst trap, thirst trap, thirst
Welcome.
trap.
Welcome one and all. Welcome to another episode of Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. This is season 3, episode 4.
You made that shit up.
Talk about.
Is it 4 or 3?
I know.
Season 3, episode 1 of them motherfuckers. What's up,
4,
baby?
5, 12. My Dale Robinson, my partner in crime. How are you, my man?
Marcus, listen. Wednesday is a wonderful day for a lot of reasons in America. Some places it's Women Wednesday at the clubs. Some places it's Wild Out Wednesday. Some days it's Hump Days. But it's a wonderful day for me because I get to spend the night with you, my friend. Brother, I'm so glad we're here. I'm so glad it's Wednesday. I'm so glad the squirrel game is here. What's popping, my friend? What's popping?
It got hot in Atlanta today, in Hateville today. It got hot. It went from being cold yesterday to super hot today. So everybody, I hope y'all are healthy and eat healthy because these weather changes will make you sick. And we like to advocate good health on here. I think we should get into it because there's a lot to talk about.
We have no time for joking. Let's go.
Yeah, specifically, last night Joe Biden delivered his first State of the Union address to Americans across the nation, and I don't have a clip of it because there's too much stuff to clip. I'm gonna give him a C on the total grade for his performance. What I will give him props for is basically trying to be strong on Ukraine, right? Trying to be strong on Russia, trying to elevate some of the things that he has done, which, Black America hasn't seen a lot from it, but you have to tout your accomplishments. And I think that he did a decent job at doing that. But the major but is very simple for me. When you don't talk to Black voters and you don't mention basically anything that they need, you fail because you're not talking to your constituency, the constituency that got you elected. You're talking to a constituency that literally hurts African Americans. So let me go back to the basics. Whether you believe in defunding the police, whether you believe in reforming the police, wherever you are on that scale, something needs to be done about it. And Biden didn't mention that part. So it was basically a moment of Crime Bill 1994 all over again, where a bunch of bipartisan people went and got up and started clapping. What you think, Mondale?
Marcus, for 1 hour and 40 some minutes, I looked at the screen, analyzing and hoping to hear something that we could be trusted messengers for this administration for, right? Let me be honest. I think for me, a C is you being a liberal teacher, a professor. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was a fail grade, and I'll tell you why it's the fail grade. We watched a president who has epically failed the Black community on the priorities that he put on his last name he wouldn't do, right? And he delivered a speech that was more catered towards addressing Republicans' fears about him being too far to the left, and also trying to make himself likable to the moderates of the world, And in a space like America in 2022, and I told you about this when you were trying to calm me down earlier, after I jumped off a call with someone trying to get me into a off the record with the vice president. I told you, I think anyone that's trying to advocate for bipartisanship in a moment like we find ourselves in right now in 2022, when someone is talking about bipartisanship at the expense of Black lives, at the expense of the Black vote, at the expense of Black wealth and come up, is also an enemy of us. And I'm not saying Joe Biden is an enemy of, I'm saying the way this speech last night was an enemy of us. The idea you're talking about defund the police in 2022 in a negative light, as if it's not one of the major killers of Black people in this country. If he could talk about spending so much money to end cancer, diabetes, and other health disorders, then he should be also talking about spending that much money to end the policing as we know it right now, because police for Black men that's younger than 24 are the leading cause of death, right? So, or one of the leading cause of death. So the idea that Joe Biden can be comfortable enough to disrespect the most loyal part of the Democratic base in the State of the Union makes me believe that it wasn't the State of the Union, it was the state of white America. And we should just call it that, because his response was not too far off from the Republicans' response to Black lives. And I'm upset, man. I'm not even going to cowtail or joke with you, Marcus. I was disgusted with the speech last night. I heard this man champion bipartisanship. Like, if you go back in history and think about anything that was subsequential or important to the moving Black lives forward in this country, Marcus, let's think the 60s and the civil rights bills, think the ending of slavery. None of that was done through bipartisanship. So this idea that bipartisanship is something we should strive for is dumb as hell, especially when the party on the other side of the aisle still won't even call this guy president because they're afraid they're going to tip off Donald Trump. So the fact that you're really willing to do work with them at the expense of us tells me that I'm not a priority for you.
Yeah, but Mondale, what you gonna do about it?
What am I do about it, bro?
And what I mean by that is,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, what you gonna do? At this point, the administration is like the Black people. What you gonna do?
Yeah, I listen.
Because they know that if we protest something, they can call out our leadership and shut that down, right? They know that at the end of the day, if we get too rowdy, they haven't pissed off the police department enough, so they can go out here and beat us up and kill us and target us with the FBI, like the FBI targeted all the.
Listen, bro. Well, Marcus, let me
what you gonna do though?
I know, because you were saying that to me as a representative of the Black community, and I get that. Yeah. People should understand what you're saying. Marcus is really saying Joe Biden was like, "Nigga, I'm your only option." But Joe Biden in the Democratic Party, in saying what you gonna do and nigga, I'm your only option, is really saying they're not paying attention to what happened in 2021 when Black people sat home in Virginia, in a state where they should have won overwhelmingly, right? They lost. They didn't just lose in white districts, Marcus. They didn't just lose in moderate districts. Black people stayed at home in Black districts. We saw Black Democrats lose, Black establishment Democrats lose to Republicans in Black districts because they chose to play this type of game about what you're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you what Black people are gonna do. You're not gonna see a large migration of Black voters to Republicans because we see the racism over in that party. But you will see a large percentage of Black voters sitting this election out. And unless the Democratic Party's got a plan to deliver something to us, it's going to be absolutely disgusting come November, a bloodbath like we've not seen in our lifetimes. And that's not hyperbole. That is a fact, my friend. What do you think, Marcus?
I think we're going to lose. I think that they forget who got them elected. And either they forget that or they really are literally up there saying, what y'all going to do about it? Y'all going to vote for me no matter what. We got you, right? To say fund the police in the face of a movement that basically got you elected is probably one of the most insular things that I've ever heard from a president ever. It's like nobody is actually putting one and one together. Nobody's actually saying this is how we got here. I am going to give him a shout out because the reaction to I think everybody in the room reacted the right way to Boebert. what's her name? I don't even MTG. I don't even mess with that woman like that.
I don't even say her name.
Yeah, she had an interesting moment last night when she started saying build that wall, and they interrupted the president when he was about to talk about his son and veterans. And as a veteran, I think that's completely disrespectful. And good on the few Republicans. The only time I ever seen them hold anybody accountable was last night during that speech when they were like, "Boo, boo."
Yeah.
So at this point, we're going to have to hope for the best, and we're going to have to hope that people actually start putting pressure. Shows like this and organizers around the nation start putting pressure on the White House. Now, my question for you. I saw a video you did on Twitter earlier today, man. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I listen. So for those people, and I know the Trap Squad. Thank y'all for being with us tonight. Also, we jump right into it because there's so much to talk about. But we love y'all. Thank y'all for being here on all platforms: Twitter, Facebook, and also YouTube. So for those of you who don't do politics for a living, like Marcus and myself. Here's what happens. If you got something going that's wonderful and the party thinks it can benefit from it, somebody in the campaign will say, oh, you need to be at this event. We're talking about doing campaign trails. Marcus, you know this. Oh, you got to be at this event. It means something significant. Throughout 2020, we saw all types of politicians trying to show up where Black Male Voter Project, my organization, was, including people running for president, right? Showing up to spaces where Black Male Voter Project was doing events so that they can look like they care about Black men. We didn't vet those candidates, say yay or nay, you can't be here. We definitely said you can't speak, you can't have the room, you can't control the room. We definitely said that, right? But today I got a call from someone saying, hey, do you want to be on an off the record, it's called an OTR in political speak, with the vice president? I'm like, man, I'm busy, but I got a few minutes. And they were like, okay, just send me your full name. Listen to this, Marcus. Social security number, your telephone number, your date of birth. You know what I told them? As many events and as much work I've done to benefit the Democratic Party, you can't have shit from me. I don't want to be there. I ain't got time to be there, and I damn sure ain't giving them my social security number. I ain't applying for no house loan for the Democratic Party. Y'all don't pay me. You don't give me nothing. And also, I thought you were the party or the governor or president. I'm sorry, president and vice president of the entire nation, not just those who could pass your vetting. And we also know your vetting is bullshit. It don't matter to me because as soon as somebody becomes popular enough, it don't matter what they've done. You're going to invite them over. You're going to take their money. So I don't got time for that. I don't play those games. So I snapped on the person who was inviting me and told them, don't call me with that. I don't got time for it. Tell the administration go to hell and talk to Black people about Black issues. I don't want to be off the road.
I guess my only, and I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here. So isn't that common practice to give up your social and all that stuff whenever you meet with
Yes. No, Marcus. No, you're not even playing devil's advocate. It absolutely is. And at the end of the video, you heard me say, I feel sad for the Black people who kowtow to this type of politics, where they want your blood sample, your firstborn child's name, and everything about you, so they can vet you to see if you are an asset or a liability to them. When in actuality, having you at my event is a bigger liability because you are establishment politics and I don't do establishment politics. So you ruin my reputation with the streets, with the community, if I keep allowing you to come to my space. So this idea that I could be a liability to the party when I don't take checks from them, when I don't get money from them, and I do a lot of shit to benefit their candidates is absolutely disgusting. So you're right, Marcus. It is common practice, and it's not just the VP's team or any teams. But the problem about it is absolutely stupid as hell. Another example of this is Sherry Beasley's running for Senate in North Carolina right now. Last night, I got a call from a politician in Eastern North Carolina who is of the community, brother. I'm talking about this brother has not lost an election ever. He owns a restaurant. Him and another elected official owns a restaurant. Sherry Beasley was trying to do a fundraiser. His partner was doing a fundraiser for Sherry Beasley, running for Senate in North Carolina, right? A Black woman doing a fundraiser for her in their restaurant. And they said, well, your partner's name can't be on the invitation because he might offend some people and he can't pass our vet. That brother said, take your fundraiser somewhere else, and I'm gonna make sure my donors don't give shit to your campaign. We need more people like that. We need more people that are not willing to sell out their friends for access. It's too many black people right now playing politics for access for themselves, i.e. Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, who gave Joe Biden a B. I don't got time for playing. I'm saying it plain. Playing games. He gave Joe Biden a B in Politico last month for his first year of his administration. No black people will give Joe Biden a B for the work that he's not done for us. So that means you're capping for access, bro. We can't do that anymore because it's killing black people. And I'm not talking about Marcus. I'm not talking hyperbole. Black people are dying because of the lack of actions from this administration, bro. So I have no time nor desire to play along with this bullshit, bro. Period.
So when you say that, it makes me think how disconnected the administration is, because if they had any idea, you know how hard it is to pass a vet? America, it's like if you do anything wrong for the past 5 years, there's a high possibility that they won't let you see the president. If you sped, if you got arrested for cannabis, if you got arrested for drugs, and we all know the criminal justice system is pretty biased against African Americans. So therefore, it's almost inherent that we don't have the same opportunity. So maybe you are on to something. Like, how do you meet with people? How do you I don't think you're going to be the person that goes up into the White House and harasses the vice president. So what does this look like? It's a shame. I want to move on. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, that was just. I appreciate you giving me space to vent because that was on my soul, brother. So yeah, I mean, we got so much to talk about. Moving on is the right thing. But I want to say one more thing, Marcus. People shouldn't think that we are. I mean, Marcus, you and I have had access at the highest level of American politics without selling our souls. You were on Bernie Sanders' campaign. I was with an organization that was raising $2 and $3 million for Bernie Sanders' campaign that same year, right? Not one time did we start saying, Bernie, you need to be for reparations. Bernie, you need to do this event. You need to invest in South Carolina. Neither one of us stopped pushing the black agenda the entire time we was there. We need more people that don't give a fuck about access and sitting at that table and give more cares about the black community, because we are in a space where people are bragging about an economy that is not hiring us, bro. Black men still have double-digit economies, and they talking about it's the best economy ever. So if this is the best economy ever, and we still got double digits unemployment rate, are you saying the economy was not built for black men to survive in? Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
And if you are, then you should be ready for November bloodbath, because it's going to happen.
You watch Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Send us a super chat if you can afford it. If not, just make sure you bring a friend next time. Help us grow our audience. Judge Brown Jackson. We are living in historic times, folks, where Biden has nominated an African-American woman to the Supreme Court. And I think she was one of the more progressive. She was the progressive pick, believe it or not. I think she was. Now we always have to be careful because skin tone and skin color doesn't dictate your policies. But I will say that having a black woman on the Supreme Court grounds the Supreme Court in a way that I don't think has ever been grounded before. Her experiences are different. I mean, her lifestyle is different. Yeah, I don't care about her husband. You can be married to whoever you want to be married to, as far as I'm concerned, as long as your policies reflect what's needed from the community. What do you think about this pick, Mondale?
Listen. I think it's high time that black women have representation on the Supreme Court, especially when the black man that's up there is an absolutely fucking idiot. And I said it. I don't call people idiots, but the black man representation on the court is not doing our community service. So we need a sister that is semi or almost progressive. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super excited that the nomination is real. What I want to see right now is I want to see them move as fast as the Republicans did for Kavanaugh sorry ass to get confirmed. The Republicans changed the rules. Say the filibuster does not apply anymore in this country. Marcus, the filibuster does not apply to commit or to confirming a Supreme Court justice anymore. That's because Republicans changed it on Trump's watch. Democrats weren't brave enough to change it. And people want to blame Manchin and Sinema. I'm still taking
Democrats
it back.
won't play dirty.
Democrats won't play dirty. And brother, and in some cases it seemed dirty. But if you think about it, Marcus, the shit we trying to pass, voting rights for everybody, it ain't even dirty. Democrats.
Yeah, but we got to play dirty to get to that point.
Right.
I mean, why are we talking about one Supreme Court justice nominee? We should be talking about 6 new ones. You remember that? What happened to that
court? We need to expand the court.
If you know and you've seen a track record of the opposite party doing everything they can to destroy voting rights, then you need to do everything you can to keep it. I don't know why expanding the Supreme Court hasn't been on the table yet, and this guy should be nominating 7, 8 more people right now at this point.
Absolutely, we need to rethink how we nominate justices anyway. Right? We should have a certain number allocated to the Republican, Democratic Party, and then something from a nonpartisan committee that elect the other ones. But we definitely need a new way to elect Supreme Court. To believe that justices aren't partisan is to say that the way we nominate justices is bullshit in this country. Because since we've been here, Republicans nominate people that see the world like them. Democrats nominate people that see the world like them. We need to have a nonpartisan committee that has a voice in this as well, so that the court is larger than what it is right now, to overcome this bullshit ass Republican majority that's dead set on keeping us in the Stone Ages. I am tired of it. Also, I think we need term limits on the Supreme Court. There's no way you should be 3 or 4 generations removed from the largest voting bloc in this country. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trusting the current administration to do anything for us. And I think they've officially made up their mind that their re-election strategy is that Black folks are going to vote for us no matter what. And what we're polling at 70% favorability for Biden at this point. That's still a lot, right? And I think that they're just going to basically say the Black folks are coming. Let's try to get as many voters from the crazy right as we possibly can. And we should not fundamentally should not address African American.
Whoa, Marcus. Hold on, Marcus. What we got to do right now is stop our show for some shit we ain't did since season 1. There's a comment that has to be addressed immediately. Put Margaret One's comment on screen. You are absolutely incorrect. Black men are not Black people's problems. What this type of mentality is grounded in white think. Black men are not the problem. Black men are not the problem. It's not. Oh, I know Black men that are extremely progressive. The Black man, there are 2 Black men in the squad that are more progressive or equally progressive to any other sisters that are in the squad. It is not Black men that are elected. It is some of the Black men, just like it's some of everybody. And don't forget, it's more Black women that support Trump that were part of Trump's administration than Black men. We cannot do this to Black men. If you look at the role that Black men, or the percentage of the Black men that are the voting population, we fall right in line with Black sisters that vote for Republicans. In Georgia, 25,000 Black women in the last 4 have participated in the last 4 Republican primaries, and 22,000 Black men have participated in the last 4 Republican primaries. It is not Black men. We can't think like this. We can't allow this to separate us in a way where people are believing us. Again, I said this on last show, I'm gonna say it again. Black men have their problems, absolutely. But Black men do not benefit from white patriarchy. And we can't.
It's the tone for me.
It's the tone for me, yo. It's the tone for
Black men everywhere.
It's the tone
Black
for me.
Problems. Yeah, you can't do that on this show. And it's not because I'm trying to shout you down. I would love to have you on, just so we could have a conversation, right? But we're not doing that only because that is a proven tactic since enslavement, to separate the Black man and the Black woman so we can take advantage of the community in total, right? Well, I don't know what they do in Africa, Margaret. I don't know what they do in Africa. I'm not an African political operative. I operate in Atlanta, Georgia, where there's plenty of smart Black men, including our mayor, including, our former congressman who passed away, John Lewis. There's a million people who have done a lot of positive work for our community, and blaming one segment of the community for anything is so played. It's so white supremacist. It's so misandrists. Come on, do better. That's all. Do better.
Listen, so let me, because I need Margaret to understand that we are pro-black men over here. We are pro-black women over here. We are pro-black over here. So what happens though is because we spent the bulk of our adult lives, Marcus and myself, the bulk of our adult lives, and when I say the bulk, I'm talking about all of it, damn near, in politics. We know the truth behind the curtain. There is no Wizard of Oz. There's a white man with a remote control controlling this shit, or a group of white men controlling this shit. And what we are led to believe is that black men are a problem. And what happens when you do that is you discount all of white supremacists that affects the way black men exist in this nation. It is not a problem of black men that we can be born rich and still die in a lower economic class. It is not a problem of black men that we were the first guinea pigs of voter suppression because of the 15th Amendment. It is not a problem of black men that we are over-policed. It is not a problem of black men that we have the worst healthcare outcome, even when we are richer. It is not a problem of black men that the system, all of the systems in this country, over-police us in bad ways. So what I'm telling you is, if you believe that people vote or show up in the world based on just elections and not the environs that affect them, then you are missing the point, sis. And that, like Marcus said, we're not trying to talk you down. You can inbox us and we'll bring you on the show so you can make your point uninterrupted. We'll definitely do that. But what we can't do is we can't allow white supremacist talking points on this show and unchecked, because then at that point we're being disrespectful to the Trap Squad, who trust in us to provide them a point of view that is not on CNN, MSNBC, and the other networks that are the major cable networks in this country.
You know, I work really hard on making sure that I don't overstep my boundary when it comes down to African American women. I work really hard on that. And have I been perfect? Nope. That would be capping. I would be lying. But to say that all black men are the problem for the, and then she used Obama as her reference point on clickbaity political. Where you come from, girl? You been watching us?
Woman.
Where you come from, woman?
I think I've never seen her name. That's not to say that she's never watched us, but we talk extensively about Obama. Obama is welcomed into the black community with open arms because his experience is different than most of ours because of his wife. We acknowledge that. His Southside bona fides are directly tied to Michelle Obama, because had he been a Southside operative and also married to a white woman, his experience would be completely different. His support,
Chuck, you see what Chuck said?
Oh, that was a white man trolling. Wow. I'm not ready to say that because I don't know enough about that profile. Chuck, I hear where you're coming from, and that behavior happens on the internet, but I'm not willing to say that and erase that sister. But what I am trying to say though is, and even though that might have been a troll, here's what I have to say. Here's what I have to say. I don't, sis. I thank you for having the top badge. We appreciate your support. We do, and I don't think you're a troll. I think you're saying what people believe quietly, and some of those people happen to be black people about black men. So I'm glad you said. I remember. She's a Facebook fan from Canada. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. I will say this though. There's a unique experience about being in and of America that you may miss from Canada. And that experience includes the lived experience of being black in this country and understanding that it wasn't Russia that started misinformation about black men. It was white people of America stock that started it, and it's never ended. So I can't let that fly. Go ahead, Marcus.
We don't have to stay on it. Let's just try to do better and love each other. Let's just start there. Let's try to do better and love each other and start centering statements like, this is what I believe we can do.
Yeah. We
can change if we. And I love you. I love you, brothers. I love you, sisters. How about just start there? Because you're emanating hatred, right? And we've been doing this show for 3 years almost now.
3 years.
Right? Yeah, right. So I don't think you understand how we started. You know, we started
Well,
with a target. We started with a target on our back. Right?
Well,
we started with because no matter what we were going to say, we had to be toxic. Just because of our existence, just because of our anatomy and how we identify as ourselves, not because of a word we said. This was before the first show even happened. So excuse us, we're a little sensitive about you coming on here and saying anything about Black men, because you got to back it up with data, sis. This is a scientifically driven show. So go back, do your data, come back, and we can have.
Because if we're honestly talking, Marcus, if Black men were the problem of Black people everywhere, then we wouldn't have two Democratic senators from Georgia. We wouldn't have a Democratic president right now. If we were a problem, we would have voted overwhelmingly for Trump. If we were a problem, we'd be voting for Republicans. But Black men vote just like Black women. People be like, oh, Black women, it's more Black women that vote. It's more Black women registered to vote than Black men. So it should be more Black women voting than Black men, because the system automatically discriminates more against Black men as it pertains to who can and can't vote because of the felony disenfranchisement. So we have to think in terms of reality when we're talking about this subject. This is a sensitive subject, and like I said again, sister, we're not harping on you. I applaud you for putting that in the chat, and I appreciate you watching us when Ben was on the show. But we had a whole season under our belt before Ben joined us. So thank you, and I hope you go back and watch some of those early episodes about how we were, because before Ben, there was a sister that occupied that seat that he had, right? And me and Kim Brown had some of the fiercest arguments on this show. They were
great. Somebody do that again.
Show, but that sister had space to say what she believed, and nobody came at her in a way that was toxic. So I just want to say that. And Marcus, let's continue with the politics, because that's enough of that subject.
Hey, I want to start this next topic with my personal disclaimer that we got a war going on in America that has never ended on Black people. So if you have the energy and the love in your heart to care about the people of Ukraine, very good. You have a very big heart. But I do understand the African Americans who are like, I don't even really care about that over there, because to be quite honest with you, I don't know how I'm going to eat already, and gas prices already been too high for me. But I do want to give a shout out to the resilience and the resistance fighters and the Ukrainian army. I want to start there. As a former military member, I can only imagine your town, like you're fighting for your home in your town. One of the biggest armies in the world are currently occupying your country and killing your people. The poor video of the old elderly lady who got ran over by a tank shows you the pettiness of Vladimir Putin. I'm not going to go too deep into the whys and whats, but I like the fact that Ukrainian army was strong enough to just slow them down a little bit, right? With that being said, you know, this is Clickbaity political Thirsttrap, so we got to bring up all the real things. African immigrants are being pushed off of trains, tied up, locked up for just trying to leave the country. And it seems to me that no matter what happens and no matter where we go in the world, Black people are getting subjugated to the most oppression. They just want to leave, but they literally are pushing people off trains so a Slavic person can be on the train and get out. Mondale, what are your thoughts on that?
Marcus, I think it's absolutely horrible how Vladimir Putin is behaving. And now we've seen footage of him using bombs that are illegal. He used a vacuum bomb on civilians. If y'all don't know what vacuum bombs are, it's basically like a flamethrower. What happens is these bombs are super efficient in close spaces, so houses, bunkers, or whatever, buildings. What happens is they throw the bombs in, and the bomb sucks all the oxygen out of the rooms. So that means you die a brutal death. It is absolutely horrible what happens. So he's using these bombs. So it's absolutely right that every human that cares about humans should be upset with the fact that this is happening in 2022. I also think that America needs to stop talking about supporting democracy all over the world if they're not willing to put their people on the line. I don't think it's enough that America is doing as it pertains to Ukraine. With that said, I will not dismiss racism in any aspect. When I saw that video of that little bitty Black girl being pushed off the train for those white people can get on that train, I cried, bro. Not not emotionally cried. There was physical tears. That was the worst thing I could see, to see that little black girl being pushed off by cops, Ukrainian cops, pushing that little black baby off of the train because she couldn't get up there. What I say is, Marcus, you're spot on when you say black people all over the world are suffering at the hand of white supremacy. And even in the terms of war, everybody's children should be safe to get on a train and board a train to get out. And Ukraine's argument is we're not even letting our men get on the train. I don't care about your men. I do care about your men. I do care about this war. But I absolutely think it's if a black person make it to the door of those trains, they should be let on with open arms, just like everybody else. It is gut wrenching to watch black babies being forced to stay in Ukraine while others are left to leave. It is horrible. That 37-minute drive from Kiev to the Poland border is taking 15 to 16 hours. They made that same trip, probably in horrible conditions because people wouldn't serve them or give them service or help them out. And then to get there and be rejected like that. Hold on a second. To get there and be rejected like that, Marcus, is absolutely despicable. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole ass war going on over somebody's bruised ego. Putin has been planning on taking back Ukraine since the moment it left, right? And right when he got him back into power. And if we take a global look at the world from the alien ship on the moon, we're starting to see.
Ain't no alien ship. Elon Musk owned that ship. Go ahead.
He's an alien.
Touche.
If we take a global look from the moon on Earth, we're going to see that in America, they are trying to take us back to the 50s. In Russia, they're trying to take us back to the 80s. And if you look very closely, I don't think a lot of people see this, but the day that Ukraine officially invaded, the day that Russia officially invaded Ukraine, China sent 5 airplanes over Taiwan. Now, understand something. Taiwan and America's business relationship is one of the strongest in the world. And China, China's been eyeballing Taiwan for years. So we have to be careful of a new sort of axis of power.
Belky.
And also who we identify.
Hold on a second, Marcus. I'm going to let you get back to it. Hold on a second. Belky. I'm gonna ask you to listen to Chuck in the chat. Chuck is not trying to be aggressive at all. We care about you trying to support the show by giving us money, but what you can't do is continue to disrespect the chat like that. Chuck has been charged with keeping order in the chat, and he's asked you not to refrain from using all caps. It is disrespectful to the chat. We see you trying to give money. Somebody in the chat is offering you advice on how to do that. Please don't show up that way, because your money is not as important to the message we're trying to do. When you do that, it's distracting from what Marcus is saying. It's distracting from the show, and money is not a driver for us. We've been doing this for 3 years for free, and we don't care enough about money to allow you to disrespect the chat like that. So please, Belky, if you are a real person and not a drone or a bot, don't show up like that. Don't show up like that. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, no, I want us to be very careful about going too far back into the past. We have enough technology, enough science advancement, enough community advancements in communication. How we raise our children is different. Everything that is unpolitical is progressing in the world. The only thing that's keeping us where it is right now is the politics of the world. And the politics of the world at this moment only benefits a few people. So we have to be I want Trap Squad to be on the lookout for what happens in China, how this Ukraine thing really plays out. Because globally, they want to be in the same places they've been in since for years, right? I think about America, and I think about the lack of fight that I've seen from this administration over here. It's like they almost got bailed out a little bit with this Ukraine situation. That's how they're looking at it. Well, we got the black folks, you know, they keep bringing us up, this, that, and the other up. They got the white folks bringing up this, that, and the other. I think I want to say this. I do believe that Biden, his polling numbers are going to go up because any wartime president polling numbers go up, and we tend to unite around that president at that time, including Republicans. But we're going to find out if Biden's a war hawk. We're going to find out how much they're going to do. We're going to find out if these sanctions on Russia even work. We're going to find out if taking an oligarch's vote is going to actually do anything about what Putin decides to do in Europe. What's your thoughts, man?
I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. What Republicans, and this may not seem like the war, but it's about the war too. What Republicans don't know is they played a role in this. When they allowed Donald Trump to be president, who all he did was praise Putin for being a strong man, for being willing to attack Ukraine, they have a role in this. When Republicans don't rebuke Donald Trump for him supporting Putin in attacking Ukraine on public radio the other day, they too have a role in what's going on. They have a role in what's going on. And I also don't want to hear Mark, is it not Mark Cuban? What's his brother name? Mark Rubio from Florida get on TV and try to opine about how Putin is not mentally stable when he supports Donald Trump. You have no space, Mark Rubio and Republican Party, to criticize nothing. You're obligated to sit your ass on the sideline and watch the rest of us scream about support for Ukraine. The fact that they had Ukraine flags, the Ukrainian flag in the Congress last night, in the halls of Congress last night, is absolutely disrespectful when they allow democracy to be attacked in their own nation. You look like hypocrites. So I'm not okay with Republicans criticizing this war right now. They have a role in this war right now. Donald Trump's support of Putin, calling him a strong man, a genius, and all of that, and normalizing Putin, giving him space, phone calls, and all of that when he was in the White House, played a role in where Putin is right now and what he believes he can get away with. So what I feel like is, Mark, because you're absolutely right. The Ukraine grit is on display, and it's wonderful. While we know 10% of their military has been disabled due to the Russian bombs, 3% of the Russians, 3% of the Russians' army or military has been disarmed too, and that's a testament to the soul and the heart of the Ukrainian people. And Republicans don't get to disrespect them by talking like they give a fuck. Period.
Well, shout out to the Russian citizens who completely disagree with this war. It's almost like, hey, we were doing fine without Ukraine. Why do we need to send our boys over there to take it back? There have been thousands of people arrested, a couple of people killed. Russian citizens protesting the invasion of, and that's what resistance is, right? We can't jump into every war, and I'm pretty sure that Russia, from what I understand, Putin is a little bit scared because, he's mentioning that the nuclear weapon and using it over and over again. You don't say nuke unless you're losing or you're not winning as fast as you thought you were, right? That's a strategic end game. And his ego is so messed up. He might be the guy to try to do it.
I mean, they're already committing crimes against humanity, killing civilians. 2,000 civilians have died in the first week of this war. That should be enough for the international community to intervene, not just use words to intervene, not just go to the United Nations and talk to the Security Council, no, or the Human Rights Council. We need to intervene. We need to not just tell Russian planes they can't land in America. We need to send American planes over Ukraine skies and bomb the shit out of that 40-mile convoy headed to
Look
Kiev.
at you, Mondale. All right, Warhawk. Mondale's a damn Warhawk.
I'm not a war hawk, but what I am, I'm a people hawk. I love people, and people deserve the right. If we say we are defenders of democracy, God damn it, we need to defend Ukrainian democracy, because those people are a peace-loving people that have fought for democracy and pushed off everything Russia has been trying to do to them. And if we care about Russia's strength in the world, Ukraine needs to stay a sovereign nation. And us not fighting for them and helping them remain that way, then we too are showing up like fakes.
You know what's messed up? If Ukraine was a black country, we wouldn't even know this was happening.
Marcus, you don't want to get too real.
I'm just
Facebook
saying,
crashed too.
we wouldn't even know this was happening. I mean, but I called it a couple of years ago on this show. I said, it's been a minute. War is coming somewhere. And it's been a minute since the American war machine and the worldwide war machine, who know each other, who are related, who are friends with each other, have made their 5-year payment almost to continue doing the destruction that they do. They can't build these billion-dollar planes. Like one plane costs $1 billion. They can't build these planes and then have them sitting in a warehouse somewhere. We have to use them. We have to use these things. So when we say defund the police, we also say defund the military-industrial complex. It's a very important thing.
Shane, you're absolutely right. It would put us in direct conflict with Russia if we bomb their convoy. But guess what? Russia has been in direct conflict with democracy since 2008, even when they were hacking and spreading misinformation. So I think Russia's already at war with us. We look at war in this country as boots on the ground, but there's multiple types of war, multiple levels of war, and they've been doing sabotaging us in a way that is definitely electronic war that we don't talk about enough. So I think, hell yeah, it'll put us in direct conflict, but we should be in direct conflict. I think this problem is conflict. This country is conflict averse too much when it comes to the sake of democracy, while we claim to be the eagle of democracy in the world. But in actuality, we're just words. We're just words right now.
I want to give 2 shots out real quick. Shout out to Terrell Starr, my guy who's in Ukraine right now. Maybe we can have him on our show one day. He's a good friend. Been a friend of mine since Bernie Sanders, 2016. Wrote a really cool article on me and on our team. And he's over and he lives in Ukraine. But you got to pay that man if you want to interview him. You got to pay him. Pay that man. And also shout out to Uncle Roland Martin. I was watching Roland Martin. I want to just bring this up. I was watching Roland Martin for the past 3 weeks. And I noticed something. Roland puts everybody on. And you might love his viewpoints, you might hate his viewpoints, but one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't keep it to himself. He shares the pot, he shares the pie, right? Of course, I love all of my other fellow progressive podcasters on the planet, and I wouldn't even consider Roland a podcaster, but I am going to say that he has one of the largest Black platforms, and he brings on everybody. How many people do you know? Do you know over 20 people that have been on Roland Martin, Mondale?
Everybody on this show.
And that's that. Hey, man, Mondale, that's all I got, man.
Listen, brother, that's not all you got. I need to hear your closing thought, and then I'll give mine. So, or if you want to go last, you can go last, and I'll give my thought right now.
No, I'm going to give my closing thoughts.
I
want to go back to love again. I like to talk about love a lot. Love is important. And we don't treat each other with love as a Black community. We don't treat each other as in places like where it's important, like the State House. And I do want to do something weird. I want to give Georgia Republicans and Georgia Democrats props for trying their hardest to fix a almost corrupt marijuana bill that came out last year that has completely stalled. And the only thing that they agreed upon, Republicans and Democrats in the state of Georgia, the only thing they agreed upon is that patients need their medication and cannabis is the medication. So a random shout out to bipartisanship. That's my last thought.
I think my last thought is it's a little deeper than love. Love is always included when we're talking about justice, because you can't have justice if you're not a loving person, right? So I want to say that justice is on my mind heavy. Justice is on my heart heavy, and not in the terms of this high in the sky, pie in the sky idea. I'm talking about justice where people can feel like their houses aren't killing them because of lead coming out of their pipes when they're trying to get water or take a bath. Justice in the terms of Black people shouldn't be 3 times more likely to have bad air than white people in this world. Justice in the form that police should not show up like terrorists in Black communities. Justice in the form that the justice system should work for everybody. That's what's on my heart tonight, Marcus. And it's on my heart because this political system has me so frustrated, has me contemplating a different aspect of life, a different way of making money, because I am so fucking frustrated with the idea that we can have been screaming so loud for 20 plus years, and the status quo is still the status quo. I've never been a fool to the idea that it would never be the masses that free us. But I don't even see the 20% that's necessary for us to fight on the battlefield. I don't even see the 20% that's necessary for us to fight. I don't need 80% approval. 20% for the idea that Black men and Black women and other marginalized people deserve the right at equity. The right to live life with the pursuit of happiness should be also ours. So I'm super frustrated that justice is not the soup du jour. And right now, what I'm telling all the people watching, everybody in earshot of this show, do something before next Wednesday that looks like justice. Spin that music, Marcus. Y'all, see y'all next week.
Tippy towel. Well done, sir.
You better get
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, Thirsttrap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege, take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Yeah.